Hello everyone and welcome to the Global Littlewargame League 2024 inaugural season. It's going to be another day of the group stages. Today we're going to be looking at Group C. And once again, as a reminder, here is the map pool. It is the ranked map pool with the addition of Thieves' Isle. It is Ravaged Xenos, Silent Fjords, Cursed Temple, Sylvan Charm, Ice Cold LE, and Thieves' Isle. So let's introduce the players playing in Group C. First off, we have MatthewN. And MatthewN is one of the newer up-and-comers of the Littlewargame community. Has been around ever since probably the Praise Hearthstone tournament. And ever since then, he's been in an active part of the community for sure. He's done very well in a lot of the different events. For example, in the Paradise series, did win 3-0 along with Yummy Blah Blah versus Dragon Archer Z and Nigat. In the Christmas Cup, tied for first with along with Weird Rat, so a very excellent performance there. In Pro League Season 4, was first in the team of Sly Fox, and that he also teamed up with Weird Rat there as well. So some very nice stuff over there. In Pro League Season 3, was a part of Weird Rat here as well, so, you know, a little bit of camaraderie there. Didn't do too well, though. Lost 0-2 to Gyarados, lost 0-2 to Haffy, lost 0-2 to Yummy Blah Blah, lost 2-1 to Guinness, but did win against Nigat, so a win is a win. But yeah, so that is one of the players. The next player is going to be Steveinator, a veteran for sure in the Littlewargame community. Has been around for a while, a very solid player. Mostly plays, I guess, Rax and Mech mostly. In the Pro League Season 3, did lose 1-2 to ItsJ. Did win against Shadowcaster, lose against Bisherm, so we'll see if he's able to, hold on to whereabouts he's at, with the middle tier to high tier, a solid player. We'll see if he's able to get out of what is considered by most people to be the group of death. I think this group got the most votes, so we'll see. The next player is going to be Highdra. Highdra is someone who Littlewargame isn't their main game, and yet they're still popping off. It's still doing very well in the Pro League seasons, at least. For Pro League Season 3, played with me in my team and did pretty well. A couple of wins, he did lose 0-2 versus Zalos, but won every single other match, winning against Speedy Bozar, Bisherm, Durstef, and Madurg. In Pro League Season 4, did pretty well there as well. Won against Madurg, won against Joshers, and also won against Gyarados. So, excellent player for sure. And for those of you who don't follow the Stormgate scene, he qualified for the Stormgate EGC Open by beating Theory, who is one of the stronger players in Stormgate there. So, excellent RTS genes or skills or whatever you want to call it. We'll see if he has the chops here in Littlewargame as well, considering he hasn't played too much. And then finally we have elbarto rounding off our group. Possibly the weakest player here, but he's still, best of one, never count him out kind of thing. He's been around for a long time, taking some games off of some really strong players as well. But in recent events, in the Paradise series, did lose unfortunately with ItsJ against Python and Bisherm. It was a very close series though. We saw some good adaptations out of ItsJ and elbarto as the series went on. And in Pro League Season 3, I didn't do too well. Lost 0-2 versus a multitude of players. Gandhi, Beatflits, AC, and Guy in chat. So rough games, but that's okay. We'll see if he can turn it around in Group C. So in Group C, the initial matchups, which I did randomly on my stream. So the first matchup will be Highdra versus MatthewN, and then the second matchup will be Steveinator versus elbarto. For our initial match, Highdra versus MatthewN, you can take a look at the stats over here. The map selection went a little bit like this. So Highdra banning Thieves' Isle, Matthew banned Sylvan Charm, and then Xenos, Ice Cold, Cursed Temple, Ravaged, and so we're playing on Silent Fjord. Yeah. Let's hop right into it. There we go. Spawning in the bottom left-hand side of the map, the player who is a pro or, high level in many, many RTS games. StarCraft, Stormgate recently, and also, of course, this game, Littlewargame, it's Highdra. And in the top right-hand side of the map, an up and rising star in Littlewargame, it's MatthewN. All right, let's see. What do we expect here? Highdra, from what I know, is mostly just a straight up racks into like racks mech sort of player. MatthewN is a little bit more tricky for sure. Definitely has a bigger bag of builds, but does enjoy his racks expand as well. We have a little bit of a faster house here, cutting a worker to get that 8 house, rather than the 9 house, which is more standard, but maybe a little bit weaker to cheeses and stuff like that. We'll see what MatthewN decides to do, and yes, that's going to be a racks. On this side of the map, we're going to have Highdra probably go for racks here of their own, if I had to guess. Yep, there we go. So a racks opening, which I think is pretty standard for this map. As you know, the natural base has a nice little ledge here, which you can use raiders to jump down, to flash down. So a lot of players do enjoy going raiders on this map just for that sole reason. You have a really easy get out of jail free card in your opponent's natural with the raiders, so why not? Why not use that? Something else to note is that a lot of the times people will go for some sort of mech push. You know, they try to make use of this gold mine being very close to the lower ledge here. You know, you set up a couple of catapults here, you can easily harass the gold mine here. That's something that a lot of people tend to do as well. Generally, the third base you take over here, and then after that, fourth bases are you can take this one, you can take this one as well. But despite all these features, games generally tend to go pretty long in this map, so that's just something to note. Highdra gonna scout around, it looks like. Doesn't look like it's going to be a proxy because of the amount of gold that he has. At the other side of the map, we have MatthewN going for a 2-rack. So a pretty aggressive build for sure. So this is just off of 10 workers. You're going to go for 2 racks. Yeah, I feel like he could have started that second racks a little bit earlier, but that's okay. Yeah, so we have a 2 racks raider. So this is going to come down to micro control in the early game. And we'll see who gets the better edge. Generally, 2 racks is pretty strong. It's really dependent on the raider micro, like I said. You generally want to really try to get the first hit and all that. And interesting thing to note is that Highdra is going across the map, whereas MatthewN over here is just playing very passive with that initial raider. Generally, you would think, you know, that'd probably be the other way around. If you're playing for a 2 racks, you would want to be on the other side of the map at least. You don't want your 2 racks to be scouted. As the raiders kiss each other in the middle of the map. A little bit of a skirmish here. You generally don't want to show that second raider, I think, unless you want your opponent to be aware of what's going on. The castle going up on this side of the map for Highdra. And a flash, yep, maybe another flash. There we go. Excellent start for MatthewN here. This looks like, yeah, okay, we're good. Thought that he'd be a little bit supply blocked, but not quite. This is pretty nice. We have a soldier on the way for Highdra, so this is very interesting. Generally, people do go for that archer after the 2 raiders if they are going to transition out of the raiders. But Highdra deciding to go for the soldier. The soldier, of course, is more tanky, does more damage, but especially in the early game where people can micro, generally tends to be not the greatest. Yeah, so generally people do go for that archer instead for the range and the micro potential. Not going in with that third raider, still wants to keep his 2 racks a secret, it seems. Highdra going for a workshop, so transitioning into what looks to be probably a 2 base push. Ooh, nice pick off over there. You do want to flash that away if you're MatthewN here. Ooh, not getting that second shot. Oh, and losing the second raider as well. This is not a great start for MatthewN. It was looking pretty good. He did get the initial pick off on that first raider, but then losing 2 of them unnecessarily is not a great start if you're doing the 2 racks. However, MatthewN looks like he's not transitioning, just continual raiders on the production screen, and you know, this could be a lot more scary if it was however many, 2 more raiders, 5 raiders versus not much here would be very Very scary. However, these two raiders are not doing anything at the moment. They're just chilling. I think that might be a little bit of an oversight for sure. I thought maybe, you know, there's a little merit to be said, hey, maybe it's just a little bit of a mind game. Ooh, losing another raider there. Definitely could have saved that. Does get the trade, but if you don't want to be trading here if you're going for the 2 racks. You want to be ahead. You definitely want to be ahead. So this looks like it's going to be a little bit of a mistake. I thought maybe it could be a little bit of a mind game, but I guess not. Flashing in with that raider being a little bit adventurous for sure. Wants to target down that worker. Generally, when you're going for this sort of build, you don't want to be targeting down workers as much. That's a flash into the main base. That looks like that raider might be trapped. Generally, you want to be targeting down the army units so that you can actually get the snowball rolling. If you start doing damage to the workers and stuff like that, then it can be very dangerous potentially. Good surround on these raiders over here means it's going to go down, yeah. And that decision to flash into the main base with that last flash coming back to back. MatthewN probably going to lose that last raider as well. So so far, excellent defense. Highdra does need to go for that advanced workshop continually building. Wants to go for cata drops, looks like on the menu. But we'll see if that happens. But so far, an excellent hold out of Highdra. Did lose, you know, some units. We lost 2 raiders, 2 workers, and a soldier, but yeah, a good hold out of Highdra. I don't know if he was aware of it in time, but his response was okay. You know, he salvaged the response very well. But it was mostly, I'd say, MatthewN just not controlling his units as well as he would have liked to. These archers going to try to target down these raiders coming from the back. MatthewN is transitioning, maybe. Nope, not quite. Just still pouring on the pressure, going for more and more raiders. This is very risky because you know your opponent is on that additional base. You also saw that workshop and the advanced workshop in the main base, so you know something is going to happen. I do like this. Highdra going to go for a house block on this front side. So this is one of the features of this map where the natural base is very, very small. Not very, very small, but it's pretty easy to wall off, more or less. Highdra going to be able to wall that off and be relatively safe from the fronts. Forcing MatthewN to probably go all the way around if he wants to continue this pressure. MatthewN is now going to be transitioning into that natural base of his own. It's going to be significantly delayed compared to Hydra's, so not the best start if you're MatthewN. You definitely want to get that snowball rolling, and you want to do that a little bit better, but a little bit of miscontrol coming back to bite him. Highdra is going to look to do a little bit of counter damage with that catapult drop in the next, I'd say, minute or so. We'll see if MatthewN is going to be able to get ready for that. Flash in doesn't get too much, forced to flash out. So yeah, this is pretty much the end of the aggression, I think, out of MatthewN. It's been held pretty well. And if you're MatthewN, you're going to be feeling a little bit unfortunate. You're going to be feeling like you could have controlled that a little bit better. Perhaps some nerves getting to him or not, or something like that. I do like that he has a raider over here just trying to scout for this base. And yeah, so this cata drop is going across the map, you know, taking down a little bit of a free worker. That's obviously very nice. You obviously want to get as much damage as you'd like for free. So it's going to come down to how much damage can this cata drop do. It doesn't really need to do too much damage. The workers are already in a huge favor for MatthewN here. Or sorry, for Highdra. I'm getting my players mixed up here. There is a single archer ready over here to try to defend. These raiders gonna try to come in and see if they can do a little bit of damage. And yeah, see, this is that ledge that I was talking about. What you can do is you can Q fire from here to target down these workers. MatthewN unable to save his archer because he was busy trying to keep his raiders alive. So definitely a little bit of multitasking here going on both sides. Looks like so far Highdra getting the better end of both sides. Good pull away over here. You want to keep those 2 red HP sorry, not archers, raiders back and away from the fight. Looks like Highdra is smelling a little bit of blood in the water. Gonna try to go across the map with these archers. Adding another, okay, so this is a lot of production structures. That is 5 production structures on 2 bases. That is more or less the maximum you can support along with continual houses. So I wouldn't, this is looking to be a 2 base all in, and I don't blame him at all. I think that's an excellent choice of strategy here after that excellent start. Sometimes people are like, oh, you know, I have a good lead. I'll just continue on and just play it safe from here. But I also like the idea of just straight up being like, hey, if I just attack, you're probably dead. Looks like MatthewN gonna go for an advanced workshop just because he can't deal with this kata drop. It's gonna be really tough, obviously, if your micro is very good to catch that airship. And this is a bit of a chokehold, you know. Bringing some workers might be nice, you know. Putting down some towers also could potentially be nice. MatthewN is also supply blocked here, so that is a very, very significant issue here. You don't want to be supply blocked, especially if you're trying to pull down. Ooh, good snipe there on that airship, which means no high ground vision, no mobility for these catapults, but there's just too many archers, I think. The Raiders forced to come back, so that is you know, that is a portion of his army that he wasn't fighting with, which is significant. Definitely could have used those in this fight, but you know, keeping them across the map to try to find some counter damage is a potential idea, but didn't get any of it back. So these Raiders coming in from the backside trying to target down these catapults does get half of one. I don't know if this is the greatest idea, but yeah, so far not bad, I guess. Highdra trying to do his best, target down the weak units, does get that last Raider. Unfortunately, it doesn't get that Archer, but it is a pretty good hold, all things considering, out of MatthewN. With the units that he had and with how late his Raiders were, didn't take as much damage as he could have. So not the worst, but not the best for sure. MatthewN is still obviously very, very behind, and his modus operandi to get back into the game is going to be a quick third base while being pressured, but that is not going to match up very well against this 2-base all-in coming out of Highdra here. Going to go up to make that 6 production structures. This is more than you can actually produce. As you can see, he doesn't have enough money to be constantly producing out of all of these production structures, but you know, I feel like you didn't need this extra racks, but that's okay. If you do slip in macro, you have a little bit of extra buffer, so that is the nice thing. MatthewN, seeing that the third base is not being constructed, did see 3. Okay, so he did see 3, 4, 5 production structures out of the 6. So he should know that something is coming for sure. And he needs to be prepared for this huge push that's coming in. This is going to be absolutely devastating, even if he knows about it. But the fact that he's not responding to it is very significant. You know, if it were me, I'd be throwing down some workshops, throwing down some towers, trying to do anything I can to, you know, try to stop this push, but it's going to be really difficult. If you look at the units, we have 5 archers and 4 raiders and a ballista, I guess, versus 9 archers, 6 soldiers, and 4 catapults. This is going to be nearly impossible. We're going to have to see some excellent micro, perhaps dodging all the catapult shots, a great worker surround or something like that. Most of the raiders are across the map. They're going to be pulled back right now as soon as he sees this army on his doorstep. But it's going to be very, very difficult for MatthewN to hold. Some catapults trying to get some free shots, not quite able to do so. MatthewN needs to run back. He doesn't want to. You don't want to be fighting prematurely without your raiders. Some raiders are caught in the middle of the map, or the raiders are catching some units at the middle of the map. A little bit of both here. Does lose a single raider, it seems like. But what does MatthewN here have against this huge catapult Rax army? Basically nothing is the answer. Gonna be forced to pull these workers, but some huge catapult shots on those workers, pulling all the workers from basically all his bases, trying to do some sort of miracle hold. Excellent shot out of there, hitting 3 archers, make that 2 more, make that another, and that means there's only 2 archers here, and this is too big of an army that MatthewN is not gonna be able to defend. So yeah, this is basically going to be it. A little bit of a failed 2 racks. Good defense, but more of a micro mistake in my opinion. Into just Highdra, you know, getting into too good of a situation from there. GG well played is called, and that is going to be the end of the initial match, which means Highdra is going to win in the first initial match, sending him to the winner's match, while MatthewN, the on-paper favorite, perhaps, according to the Littlewargame rank system, perhaps not. You know, some people might think, oh, Highdra, he's the RTS god in this era, playing so many RTSs at the high level. You might have favored him, but yeah, a little bit of a, I guess, just an execution miss out of MatthewN here. Not exactly playing that build very well, being a little bit sloppy with the Raiders, and unfortunately too far behind after that, in my opinion. So well played to both players. We're going to head into the next initial match. Whoops, that's the wrong way. This way. There we go. The next initial match is going to be Steveinator versus elbarto. And this is bound to be a pretty good match here. We got that first game was a bit of the new guys on the block, some of the newer players playing, but today, or this match, is going to be some of the older, more recognizable names for people who are longer in the community. It's going to be Steveinator versus elbarto. Steveinator on paper is going to be favored for sure, but I don't know. We'll have to find out if that is actually the case. Heading into the initial match, I don't have any vetoes for this, so we're going to hop straight into it. There we go. This was also on the same map. Spawning in the bottom left-hand side of the map on Silent Fjord, it's Steveinator. And in the top right-hand side, it's going to be elbarto. All right. THI. What is this? This is a journey game. Okay. Okay. I was a little bit confused. Maybe he was going to write down his thoughts on the match or something in ally chat so that elbarto doesn't see, but we, the spectators, could see or something like that. That'd be pretty cool. A little bit late. Okay, I see. Steveinator is going to go for a quick scout. This is something that Steveinator often likes to do. I know he does that pretty often just to be extra safe. He's quite well known for it. So, yeah, I don't mind it at all. He's going to go across the map and just check out what his opponent is up to and play, make sure he's not being cheesed, that sort of thing. Play ultimately pretty much safe and sound into a macro game. But that does lose you, some minerals, or not minerals, some gold. This is the wrong game. It is going to be gold. That also means that your Rax is going to be a little bit delayed in comparison. Probably looks like about 2 or 3 seconds, if I had to guess. Gonna go across the map, gonna do a little bit of harassment. Gonna try to do a little bit of, hey, get out of here. Try to delay the barracks if possible. elbarto pulling one of his workers to replace that worker. Oh, there we go. Nice. And it's unlikely that elbarto is actually gonna lose this worker. But yeah, Steveinator does get the scout. Does see that it is a Rax opening, so he knows what's up. And we're just going to go on from there. Ooh, a little bit of missed production time here. But not a huge issue. The Rax are going to finish in relatively the same time. This is going to be probably from this building placement. I'd assume that he's going to block this side off and castle here, if I had to guess. Which, yeah, I don't mind that, I guess. It blocks this back route into the main base a little bit better in the early game when you don't have enough buildings as you would in the middle stages of the game. So I don't mind that at all. Now we have elbarto sending a worker across the map. Is this for scouting? Is this for a proxy? We'll have to find out. Just raiders out of both. Ooh, another worker too. So because it's 2, I'm probably just going to be scouting for proxies, yeah. Doesn't see anything. I'm probably going to go home. Maybe he's going to check up here. But I feel like if you were to do this, you probably should do this a little bit earlier. Because by now, you're kind of a little bit behind in scouting. Like, this is too late to like, really do too much against some sort of really dedicated proxy. But I guess with this going across the map, actually, it's probably going to be some sort of proxy. But nah, it's going to turn around. Never mind. These raiders are going to miss each other in the middle of the map because I believe Steveinator flashed down across. Maybe not. I don't see the vision trails, but it did have less mana, so maybe it did. I'm not sure. Going across the map, we have some raider skirmishes on both sides of the map, perhaps. elbarto's still scouting around, potentially paranoid for a little bit of trickery, tomfoolery, but it looks like that is not the case. This raider is going to find an undefended worker and try to get a kill on that. These raiders go across the map, but quick pull on elbarto and is able to save that. You could probably go for this, but that also creates a 2-on-1 on the other side of the map. Steveinator does need to be a little bit careful, though. Ooh, missed flash there, taking an extra hit. Not ideal for sure. Steveinator also not finding any damage on the other side of the map. Nice flash out of elbarto sniping that. So this is an excellent start for elbarto here. Doesn't want to be taking this much free damage though. Looks like he was a little. Ooh, that is overcommitment. You see the castle as well. I'm not sure why this tower is going up. Perhaps he was thinking that you know, I'm so far ahead, but it isn't that far ahead, just by one worker here. I also would have liked to see Steveinator pull a few more workers just to absolutely confirm this. Ooh, good pick off of that raider though. To absolutely confirm this full defense, I would have pulled probably 4 or 5 if I wanted to be extra safe. Only pulls 3, I believe, and that means that it's a little bit more precarious. Did lose a worker that honestly you didn't need to, but elbarto is going to be caught a little bit lacking here in the control and lose that second raider as well. So so far, you know, elbarto had that excellent start, but Steveinator was able to get the better of him in the later stages of that fight. So I'd say it's a little bit, you know, a little bit back to even, except elbarto did go for that that watchtower, which he's continuing to build. So I'd say it's actually a little bit better for Steveinator here. You definitely could cancel that, in my opinion. Gonna go for a wolf's den. That's gonna be interesting. I'd imagine that's probably gonna go for. Oh, okay, never mind. I was gonna say it's probably gonna go for some sort of werewolf cheese, but doesn't look like it. elbarto probably looks. From what I see right now, it looks like he's going to go for some sort of 2-base, 2-den, maybe 2 racks sort of push. Good pullback here out of elbarto. Is able to save that archer. Almost surrounds that raider, but not quite. Steveinator going for a little bit more conventional play, it looks like. Going to go for a quick 3rd castle, which a lot of people do with this build, and is content to play. Yeah. So as Steveinator here, you want to keep tabs on their 3rd base. And then, you know, once it's about your 3rd base, about the time when your 3rd base is like maybe 75% done, or maybe, you know, done, that's when you want to say, hey, I don't see a 3rd base, what are you up to? And that's when you want to sacrifice a raider into the main base to get that scout off, right? So that's basically what Steveinator wants to do eventually. Would like to see him spread his units so that he can actually scout this side a little bit better. Gonna go for additional racks, as we can see as well. That's a free scout, though. That is a huge free scout. Is able to see that wolf's den, and gonna see the second one as well, it seems like. Yep, that is an excellent scout. Probably wants to target down that worker. Nice. Gets a free worker as well. Might even get an archer. Nope. Good pullback. You can also flash out on this top side if you hide enough, but doesn't look. Oh, yeah, you want to target down that archer. Is gonna be able to get it, so. That raider did everything it needed to do. It scouted the plan, it took down a worker, and it took down an archer. That was an excellent raider out of Steveinator. elbarto probably could have held on to, you know, kept his secrets a little bit closer to the heart with this house that he's building now. It wasn't there initially when he was poking out, so that raider out of Steveinator was able to get that free scout. So what is Steveinator's response? He has 2 Raxes. I'd imagine I would see, okay, more production structures. There we go. That is a workshop. So he's aware of what's going to happen probably, and he needs to be able to defend it. He's going to spot a little bit of a move out, it seems like, with this raider. Going to see at least some wolves at the front of the base. I don't know about this, though, from elbarto. I don't think this raider is worth trying to hunt down. Ooh, could have targeted down that... red HP wolf, but not able to do so. Good target fire there, though. Gonna flash down into the lower base, or to the lower ground, but is gonna be target down. But all this time that elbarto is spending chasing down these units means that his all-in is gonna hit so much later. He's also not producing units at the moment, floating up to 400 gold. Obviously not the ideal. Maybe he's gonna expand off of this. Maybe that's why. But this push should have hit maybe a minute ago, I think. But definitely that gives a lot of time for Steveinator here to build up a bigger army. Steveinator is also going to be supply locked, which is not good. And it's actually going to be a pretty big supply lock. No house started just yet. And this is going to be not the easiest hold, but if elbarto comes in a little bit disjointed, such as all these wolves in front, and Steveinator gets a good fight off over here without these archers, yeah, that's an excellent start for the fight for Steveinator. And yeah, this looks like it's going to be held pretty well, even with the supply block that's going on at the moment. So a little bit of missed delay for sure out of elbarto, not going straight across the map, but going spending time chasing down that raider. Obviously, it's nice to get it, but if you're going for this sort of build, you definitely want to be on the other side of the map. And this is an excellent hold out of Steveinator. Very well done. However, this isn't the end of the world for elbarto. Did go for a castle on the back of this. Does have a wolf here. I like that. But yeah, it definitely could have been a lot better. Ooh, a little bit of a miscontrol here out of elbarto, taking a little bit too much damage than he needed to. Soldiers are also slightly faster than archers, which means that eventually these archers are going to get sniped down. The archer, its speed, as you can see, is 2.52, whereas the soldier is 2.59. So they're not going to be able to get surrounds, but they'll be able to do a little bit of hits here and there. It looks like elbarto is going to transition into a more beast-style play, whereas Steveinator going to throw down a advanced workshop and a second workshop, so going to go into a bit of a mech or a mech Rax hybrid style. Steveinator also looks like he's looking to take another base here, but that wolf does see it, so very nice out of elbarto. And we'll see how the game evolves from here. The thing with, if you are going to go for this wolf archer sort of style that has been popularized somewhat recently, I'd say. For me personally, the first time I really saw a lot of this was, a little bit of pause here, okay. The first time I saw a lot of this was actually when Happy versus AC in Pro League, where they both went for it actually on Xenos, I believe, So yeah, a little bit of that. But when you do go for that sort of thing, you really need to keep your army together. You want to get that surround with the wolves and surround the army, and then your archers deal the damage to completely. It's like wolf snake, except you have archers instead of snakes, basically. So yeah, this sort of disjointed attack where you have just a few wolves coming in, generally not the best. So yeah, you want to get that huge surround, you know. With your wolves coming from like the backside, get a big surround, while your archers rain down fire is what you want to be doing. Steveinator taking a 4th base, also going for this invisibility upgrade. Where is it? Is it on a castle? Okay, gonna go for bird detection, so I think that's a mistake. I don't think that was intended. Just a heads up. I don't think that's a meta. Anyways, elbarto's still on 3 bases, saying not nice. What happened? Did he just, he was saying not nice to the attack, potentially? I'm not exactly sure. I don't think anything died then, so that's probably it. But yeah, I don't think elbarto really knows this transition, right? I don't think he knows. He did see this, of course, but he hasn't seen the additional workshop, hasn't seen the advanced workshop. You know, the advantage of having wolves is that they're very expendable. You know, he did a really good job of scouting this 4th base timing. I would have liked to see him do a little bit more of that, though. You know, once it died, you know, setting a few wolves there, setting a few wolves at the front of the base so that you can see this sort of move out would all be some very nice choices. elbarto is going to go for a workshop of his own as well as an advanced workshop, so looks like he's going to transition into some sort of a mech wolf hybrid as well. Hasn't been producing as many Rax units as of yet. And looks like the wolf, it's going to be a bit of a base trade scenario. So the wolves and the archers going into the top left side, where he knows that this base is basically, because he saw it with the wolf. Or at least he saw an archer there with the wolf. Whereas Steveinator has his army on this side of the map. It looks like we're going to go into a little bit of a base station scenario. This potentially could have been huge, but unable to see that is elbarto. Did learn from his previous mistake. Is going to wait for the rest of his army, but that also gives Steveinator a little bit of time to set up a little bit of a, what is it, Sim City. I do like this, though. these archers also need to be attacking some significant units rather than just the castle. And as he moves them forward, that's exactly what he's going to do. And at the same time, we have Steveinator moving on to the backside of elbarto's base. That's going to be very difficult to defend as well. This Highdra coming in as well, trying to do a little bit of damage action across the map on both sides. No anti-air here out of elbarto other than this ballista, which is just going to finish. This attack is doing very well. Good hold position out of elbarto. Needs to rectify that now and chase those workers. But is a little bit busy defending at home. elbarto does have catapults of his own, though, which means this defense is going to be a little bit easier for sure. You do want to probably target down these units over here. This army, I would have liked to see this go into the base instead of trying to take this down. You need to do a little bit more critical damage, in my opinion. This watchtower helping out for sure, but I don't think it's going to be enough. elbarto did also forget about this ballista, so that's not here to try to take down this airship. Steveinator targeting down the watchtower here. Good kill over here, and I don't think the stream of wolves is going to be quite enough. Steveinator is also floating a ton of cash, though. Looks like he was supply locked for a little bit, but did save all these workers. I guess maybe these wolves will eventually clean it up. You do want to probably target down some of the workers here so that repair doesn't go off. elbarto moving into the main base. I'm going to try to do a little bit more damage here. I would like to see maybe a little bit better micro with some of these archers and the wolves that are dripping out a little bit. Whole position out of Steveinator there, but that Gatling gun does still fall. And with that front wolf buffer gone, I think this push is going to come to a stop. Yeah, it doesn't look like he has enough to burst through these catapults here. This attack on the side of elbarto's map is mostly stopped as well, but the airship was still alive, trying to do a little bit more damage. So some good multitasking out of Steveinator. I'm really curious to see how many workers have gone down. A total of 15 for elbarto and 9 for Steveinator. But yeah, with that additional fourth base and this is going to be a big hit. With that additional fourth base and more workers, that means that Steveinator is quite behind, or sorry, quite ahead of his opponent at the moment, nearly doubling. Is that more than doubling? That's more than doubling. No, not anymore. Okay, anyways, what I'm trying to get at is that I think Steveinator got the better end of that trade for sure. A few more workers going down. 5 plus 9 is 14. I'd assume that's mostly those 16 workers there. And this ballista, while it's still here, not doing too much, it doesn't have that mobility without that airship, and not going very well. At the same time, Steveinator, with that huge bank of his that he had, taking another fourth base, this time on the other side. So, yeah. Steveinator is also going to be supply blocked here. Did lose a lot of supply depots. Well, not supply depots, but you know what I mean. Houses and a castle there, so going to be supply blocked at the moment. Also throwing down a whole bunch of towers, which is very nice. I like that. These wolves are going to scout it, so good scouting, but it's going to be a little bit too little too late, I feel like. Not going to be able to deny this as well as he would have liked. He's going to target down a worker, so that is very nice. Ooh, taking this down would be a pretty big pick off, but not able to do so. He did drop these catapults elsewhere. At the same time, elbarto does have a fourth base of his own, so yeah, let's take stock of the situation. We have a little bit of a better economy for Steveinator, 32 to 22 workers, and I'd say he has a little bit of a better army too if we look at the number of units that he has. So things are looking very good for Steveinator. Yeah, I feel like he's also been doing a pretty good job of harassment, especially with that catapult drop. Whereas elbarto, you know, he's been trying to do a little bit more of that frontal attack sort of thing. Hasn't gone too well. I think these archers are, these workers are in the wrong control, but there we go. Back to mining, but immediately disrupted by these catapults. Is going to come in with that ballista. That is very crucial here for this defense. If that goes down, it's going to be it's essentially game over. Archers and wolves going to go around to try to get a bit of a surround. Wants to set it up a little bit better instead of walking in straight in, but that's exactly what he's going to do. So not a best surround, and that's a lot of wolves going down. Oh no, this was not the fight that he wanted to take, or he needed to take either. Yeah, so elbarto coming in all one line, not fully surrounding this army, taking too much damage. That's something you just cannot do, especially. You had the time too. Like, it's not like your castle was about to go down. Yeah, so this fight definitely could have been a lot better. Steveinator bringing some workers just for that additional repair and also to build some towers, it looks like. Yeah, this could have been a lot better hold, I think. Elbarto, if he came out from multiple angles, I think that's the sort of thing that he needed. But at the same time, all that meat of the army has gone, except there's a big chunk of that meat over here on the 4th base of Elbarto. But yeah, I was saying that maybe these wolves could eventually clean this up, especially because all the soldiers and archers and stuff are gone. But that is also going to come at the cost of the 4th base, and that's going to be it. Elbarto saying GG, well played, with a nice little smiley face as well. Elbarto did, have his moments, but Steveinator a little bit too strong. And that means that this is what Group C is looking to be. A little bit of a rhyme there. In the winner's match, it's going to be Highdra versus Steveinator, with the loser's match going to be MatthewN versus Elbarto. So, yeah, definitely a tough game for Elbarto here, but he's going to get another chance against MatthewN. That's also going to be a tough matchup. But before we get to that, we are going to head into the winner's match. And that's going to be Highdra versus Steveinator. We'll see some high-level gameplay, hopefully. I thought they did the bands. Did I not write this down properly? Yeah, apparently no. Okay, I don't have the bands for this, so we're just gonna have to hop straight into it. Here we go. Let me just get that out. All right, for the 3rd game in a row, it's gonna be Silent Fjord again. In the bottom left-hand side of the map, it's Steveinator. And in the top right-hand side of the map, it's Highdra. Both of these players basically doing, a good defense of what their opponents threw at them in their previous game. And we'll see who's going to win this one. Looks like they had to restart the map, potentially, because of, I don't know, some hardware issues or whatever it could have been. But yeah, I'm really curious to see how this will go. We have a little bit of a... I think these two players have pretty similar styles. I feel like, I think mechanically Highdra is obviously a lot better. But Steveinator, is no slouch in that manner, I'd say. But yeah, I think their play styles are pretty similar. They don't try to do too many fancy things. They just kind of play standards. Just kind of play, about as standards as you can get. Some standard racks into mech. Do a little bit of Catarot or something and try to win from there. Interestingly, we have no Worker Scout out of Steveinator just yet. We're just gonna, I guess, do a little bit of scout around his base. Not gonna go for a building just yet. Okay, so it's just gonna be a little bit of scout around before this racks. It's gonna be a little bit delayed. Definitely didn't need to be that delayed, but I don't think it'll be a huge issue in this game. Highdra also gonna go for a racks of his own. Interesting to see that Steveinator did not go for the same location for his first racks. Generally, people will stick to what they know, and a little bit of variation here. Not exactly sure why, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if this is planned or it's just whatever, just some sort of thing. Hydra's racks is also gonna be it's still gonna be in range. I feel, yeah. I was going to say maybe it doesn't create the wall, but I think it will. We'll see if any of these players are going to deviate from the Raider opening, but it looks like so far, nope. Yeah, it's going to be a Raider versus Raider opening, which is generally considered probably the most standard opening, so I don't mind it. Sometimes it's a little bit annoying to play if you're not as confident with your Raider micro, but yeah, I think, there's definitely potential for skill expression, but it's not the favorite for most players, I'd say. Some people think it's just like, it's a bit of a coin flip, a little bit of toss up, but Highdra just scouting around his natural, to see if there's any sort of proxy. Highdra going for a, ooh, interesting. A little bit of variation here. One raider into archer, which means your castle is going to be a little bit quicker. This is pretty nicely timed out here. Whereas Steveinator going for that 2 raider into castle, it looks like the raiders are going to meet in the middle of the map. Steveinator's not building a castle. What is this? This is a mistake. Ooh, good flush out of Highdra there. Very nice, getting the pick off. Yeah, this castle is delayed unnecessarily, so not ideal. Not ideal at all. Also losing the raider fight, not ideal. But at least it won't snowball because Highdra is going to go for that archer transition rather than going for the additional raiders. I like this placement out of Highdra. I would have preferred it to be a little bit closer over here so you can see this main ramp going in. Not ramp, main passageway going in. But I do like this position for sure. Steveinator going to play a little bit defensive, as I think is probably the right call, because you don't know if that second raider is coming for your opponent, and if you get caught with your pants down in the middle of the map, the game can really snowball. So I do think this is a smart play for sure. Highdra going to go for a similar build from last game. Going to go for that workshop off of 2 bases. So we'll see if he does that same 2 base. What was it? 4 racks and workshop and advanced workshop sort of play. We'll see. So Hydra's raider double flashes to get out. Maybe this raider might be able to catch up. I think barely it won't be able to. I think if he went here and then flashed, then he might be able to, but going around this way, I think it's going to be pretty difficult. You're gonna maybe, it depends on how Highdra routes this, excuse me. Ooh, I think did see a glimpse of that, so I think his raider is barely going to be able to survive, and that's going to be pretty huge. The flash is available as well. Ooh, 1 HP is going to flash away. Very nice. Barely able to save that. A little bit of a missed opportunity for Steveinator, excuse me. If you went this way, I think he would have definitely been able to get it, but not going to be able to do so. Highdra going to go for a counter drop, it looks like, as he did in that previous game versus MatthewN. Ooh, a little bit of a mistake out of Steveinator. Gonna lose a raider. Yes, that's gonna be a raider down. That's a pretty big pick off for Highdra. Steveinator's gonna flash in to try to get that last archer. Gonna be able to do so, and probably can stick around a little bit more. Doesn't want to stick around too much. If yeah, okay, there we go. Gonna flash away now. Highdra gonna just block off that bottom side. Something you can definitely do. Steveinator going for a 2 racks of archers. Not gonna go for that quick third base. Makes sense because he was behind in the early game. You don't want to take as many risks if you're behind. But yeah, I don't know if he's going to be aware of this counter drop that's going to come in the future. It looks like he's going to send a raider to that third base location. So that is some good information that he's able to have. If he's going to go flash into the main, that's going to be very, very nice. Especially if you take a look. Is going to get that flash, is going to see the workshop. Is it going to see the advanced workshop though? Not quite. So you might be thinking that it's a bit of a, ooh, and it does get picked off. So not seeing that advanced workshop is actually pretty big. I think it's going to just be a straight by ground 2 base push. Steveinator also going for a third base of his own. Where did that other raider go? It's a little, okay, it's on the other side of the map. Generally you want to put it on your opponent's side of the map. So I would like to see that go across the map and continue to do some scouting. But here we go. So we have Highdra with that kata drop as long with a worker, and gonna go move across the map, march across the map with a raider and 4 archers while taking a third base at the same time. It is gonna be supply locked a little bit, but that's okay. Yeah, so this is actually gonna be a bit of a scary army, I think, because of this micro potential. It's not gonna be easy to defend. We do have a advanced workshop for Steveinator on the way, but it's not exactly done. It's about halfway done at the moment, and we'll see how much damage that this push is going to be able to do. Q fires no reaction so far out of Steveinator. Going to pull away now, but after a single shot, so no workers going down just yet. These workers are being pulled from the third base. I'm not sure why that is, but yeah, this is a very abusable ledge. Archer goes down essentially for free. You want to attack with this instead of just going, yep, you might be able to get that Raider perhaps. Is going to be able to get that, but there's nothing that you can really do about this airship catadrop. It's going to be really tough at least. There's basically one archer here so far, or two archers, but that's going to be a difficult hold. At the same time, Highdra is going to be basically content to macro up from here. Third base on the way along with 2 additional racks. Yeah, right now Steveinator has nothing to deal with this. He doesn't have the anti-air to deal with this. And this all comes back to that scout that he was unable to get into that main base. He did get a glimpse of the catapults because he saw the catapult, he saw the workshop, but wasn't able to see that advanced workshop. So he's a little bit scrambling here, caught with his pants down. Going for a bird. That looks like that probably was a mistake. I think he wanted to go for a archer, if I'm not mistaken. And this is way more damage than you really need, or you really want out of Steveinator. Do want to criticize Highdra not quite doing the Q fire as well as he could have been doing. So he's kind of letting them just shoot on their own. If he had Q fired, I feel like he would have been able to do a little bit more damage, concentrated fire on those the workers, right? So that's a little bit of a mistake for sure. And Steveinator here going for these soldiers means that he just doesn't have the anti-air to deal with this. So this first ballista is going to come out, going to try to ward this away, but this lifetime isn't quite over, especially because this his own Sim City is going to work against him. I think he doesn't really have anything to deal with this, right? He doesn't have the airship to and like if you want to go all the way around, he has to go like super far away. Good shots over here, taking down looks like 3-ish workers. So, yeah, definitely a lot of damage for sure. Looks like this soldier was caught trying to go across the map. And this sort of damage, you know, you might say, oh, you know, it's only just 5 workers. It's not like a huge amount. You know, Steveinator already got his castle really early and all that. But it's not just the worker damage. It's also the lost mining time. It's also that lost attention, because if you're busy doing this, you're going to get supply blocked like Steveinator is right now. You're going to get like, you know, you're going to lose that mining time and all that. So, yeah, this definitely could have been a lot better out of Steveinator had he got that initial scout. Highdra going to march across the map with the reinforcements here, with a handful of archers here. And that's going to be a very difficult task to defend. Does have a significant number of soldiers though, so that potentially could come into play. But I think, yeah, this is going to be too much. I think Highdra is going to have some excellent micro here. Not going to fire with those catapults though, because that's kind of how it works. Ooh, luckily for Highdra, he didn't actually pick them up. It looked like he was trying to pick up those catapults, but if they did, they would have died. But they did not. So. But yeah, Steveinator doesn't really have anything. You know, queuing up triple catapult here, not going to help him. That supply block was pretty big, and just not being able to deal with this catapult drop is even bigger. So yeah, I think this is going to be pretty much it. He's got a huge army just on his doorstep. And these few archers, few workers aren't going to be able to deal with this. And it looks like Highdra is going to be probably the winner of this match. GG is called, and Steveinator is going to tap out. And yeah, Highdra with some excellent showing is going to be the next player to be going into Alpha League. Very nice. You know, I feel like the players against Highdra didn't really try to... They kind of fought him on his terms, you know. I think if it were me, I would try to try to do some sort of wacky cheese that if you haven't played Littlewargame enough, you just don't know of, you know. Some sort of werewolf cheese. Maybe he already knows it. He does already know it from Pro League, but something wonky, right? But I guess MatthewN did go for that 2 racks. But yeah, I feel like a little bit of better what's the word? Preparation could have gone a long way against someone like Highdra. But let's take a look at the Alpha League here. So Highdra making his way out of Group C. Very nice. Is going to await to play the 2nd place finisher of Group B. So this is how Alpha League is shaping up so far. And that brings us to the losers match. It's going to be MatthewN versus elbarto. Definitely a bit of a mismatch if you look at the MMR. But once again, it is a best of one, so you never know. Where is this replay? Here it is. All right, let's head into not Silent Fjord. Finally, we've got a new map. It's going to be Xenos or Xenos. I don't know. Xenos. In the bottom left-hand side of the map, it's MatthewN. With a quick worker going across the map, too. Interesting. We'll see what's going on. But after we introduce our other player, in the top right-hand side, in the blue pieces, it is elbarto. All right, so what is MatthewN up to is the question here with this one worker. If I had to guess, I think it's just a scout. I think MatthewN is thinking, hey, I'm just a better player. I'm just going to play it extra safe. I'll just scout and I'll be fine, is my guess. But even if you are going to go for that, I feel like this is a little bit too early. You probably want to do this a little bit later because you know, you come here and you see this house being constructed. Okay, it's going to be a little bit of a cheeky play, maybe question mark. Okay, he's going to be a little bit cheeky, skirting around the edges of the vision. Ooh, just going to walk in now. I think if he was a little bit more patient, maybe. I don't know. So I was thinking it would be a scout, but it wasn't. He was trying to be a little bit cheeky for sure. And I don't mind that, but is gonna, you know, basically say, oh, I saw the house go up, no additional building. So he was a little bit sus, and he's like, okay, I'll just go in and try to see what's up. So looks like elbarto is going to go for a castle first. That's going to be very difficult to hold against someone like MatthewN's caliber with those raiders. But we'll see how that goes. Is going to put down that castle. It's not going to be in range, which is very nice. So MatthewN might be thinking that this is some sort of proxy, potentially. His worker was very, very early though. So maybe, you know, you might be thinking, oh, I mean, if it's a proxy, it's like in one of these two areas. I don't know if MatthewN is going to be fooled though. Yeah, he is going to be fooled. He is going to put down a watchtower, and that is before the raider. So, yeah, interesting. So MatthewN being a little bit fooled for sure. Definitely could have been a little bit better diligently, you know, a little bit better with his scouting, and like came back to check and confirmed that it's just what's it called, FE, but looks like he was tricked, and that means elbarto is going to be in a pretty good position. And I don't mind this watchtower either, because a lot of times players, when they sniff out that, oh, you know, something's a little sus, they might do something like this where you either overmake units, and that means you might be able to do a little bit of harassment for free, or at least that's what you think. And then, oh, there's a tower, I can't do too much. Oh no, I'm just behind. That sort of thing is what people do. Or the other one is you play defensive yourself, and if he gets a tower and I get a tower, but I also have a castle, I'm just better off, right? This amount of time wasted is not as bad. But this is something I don't quite agree with. I guess you kind of need it if it's against raiders, because if they come into my main, I'll just die. But I don't know. I feel like with another tower in the main base, it's just not. And also this placement is actually not that good now that I think about it. It's not going to be able to just control that bottom side of the worker line here. So this raider is just going to be able to deny mining just by standing right there, and that's it. That's just actually a poor placement. I just completely came out of my mind there. But this tower probably should have been placed a little bit better, maybe even here to potentially, control of this side and this side. Maybe even just put your castle here and put the tower like here in the like here-ish. But yeah, so unfortunately elbarto, with a little bit of a missed building placement, is not going to reap the benefits of his little bit of a, what's it called, early game shenanigans tactics. I don't like this tower either. This tower is not in range of this tower, which means you can deny it for forever, basically. Yeah, this is looking Very good for MatthewN. MatthewN did, spend money on a tower himself, but he's just ahead. Yeah, so, and this sort of thing, this sort of mistake is really unfortunate, especially because it's not like a micro mistake. This is just something that you just either A, didn't know the map well enough, or you just kind of forgot, right? So, yeah, it's definitely unfortunate. This watchtower isn't even halfway done, and he's being forced to cancel it. And because of these watchtowers, that means these wolves are super, super late as well. Yeah, this is a disaster for sure. MatthewN gonna try to flash in to try to see if there's anything crazy going on, maybe a dragon's lair or something. Is gonna see everything that he needs to see, and this is a disaster for Elbarto. He's gonna cancel that, as he should, but yeah, MatthewN is content to take a third base at the same time, and he's super, super, super far ahead. So, if you're Elbarto, what do? Do you A, give up your natural and just mine from your main and just take the L? You don't really want to do that, Ooh, that rate of going down is pretty big. I think Matthew did have a flash but didn't quite use it, so definitely a mistake. Looks like Elbarto is just going to try to make a few wolves and overwhelm it eventually. These workers are going to be sent back to mining, but not exactly at the best timing. It was wasting a lot of idle time there. Wants to pull back that. You don't want to pull it back that way, though. It's still in range. You have to pull it back all the way. Yeah, there we go. Okay. It's going to be able to save that last wolf there, but yeah, Elbarto is super behind for sure. MatthewN is going to go for what looks to be the meta in this tournament so far, or at least in this group, and is going to go for a Cata drop. So looks like that's going to be hitting the field in about 2.5 minutes. So if you're Elbarto, what are you going to do? You got to do something crazy. I don't mind this decision. Just go for a 4-den. You're behind. You got to do something. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Will it work? That's a different story, though. Wolves at the top of the ramp. Very nice. Does lose a wolf, though. Unfortunate. Would like Elbarto to split off some wolves to check to see if there's a third base. That would be nice. Gonna go for 6 dens. How many workers? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I feel like you could make maybe 2 more workers. And you do want to split them correctly because there's a few more workers in the main base than in the natural. But it's going to be really tough. I feel like it's going to be pretty tough, especially because we already have a watchtower in both the the natural and the third base, and they're in pretty good positions. So I'd imagine that MatthewN, once he gets wind of it, will be more than aptly prepared. Even if he's not aware of it, he's more than well prepared right now at the same time. So yeah, we'll see, how things progress from here. But yeah, MatthewN definitely in an excellent position. What's his supply block now, though? Definitely a little bit unfortunate. Yeah, one of the things about this map, though, no matter which third you take, it's really easy to catadrop here. Like, you can put catapults on this ledge here and rain down fire. If you take this space, you can also rain down fire from here. So this is definitely a great map for catapult drops. MatthewN showing some good understanding of the map, and gonna go for catadrops of his own on this map. Gonna bring a worker for that auto repair, and gonna look to do a little bit of damage economically. Elbarto is having none of that and just trying to power out some wolves and go for a 2 base, 6 den all in. We'll see if this is able to get a little bit of damage. And not just a little bit of damage, it needs to do a lot of damage. But some good SimCity here, good SimCity here. I don't really see a world in which these wolves will do some game-ending damage, as long as MatthewN is on top of his workers. This catadrop is going to come in. There's nothing that shoots up except for maybe some snakes that are going to be on the way later on, but not quite just yet. Arbaldo gonna try to go into the natural base, but you don't want to be targeting down that castle though. That's not something you want to be targeting down. At the same time, that Catadrop will have to keep an eye on that as well. Gonna unload those units. Gonna target down the watchtower first. You do want to be Q firing. Oh, there we go. Those are some excellent shots. Is going to respond though, so very nice. Only 3 workers going down so far. But elbarto is failing to find damage on the other side of the map. No snakes on the way too. So that is just something to note. MatthewN did try to go for a little bit of some cute kills with that worker that he brought though. I'm going to try to find an opening on this side of the map. He's going to find a bit of an opening. No hold position out of MatthewN. So he's going to get on top of the workers here. But this Catadrop has nothing to defend it either. Action on this side, action on that side. Do want to be targeting down those workers here. Instead, going to target down a wolves den, not what you want to do. These wolves are trying to target down the castle. That's also not what you want to do. You want to be targeting down this tower and these workers. So a little bit of misplay over here. Finally, this target fire here is only still 4 workers just as of yet. We have some snakes coming up, but that's not going to be the greatest against this catapults drop. Some good hold position with these workers though. This tower hasn't been touched just yet, and these archers on the high ground raining down some damage as well. And yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty easy hold here. Some raiders. Yeah, okay, GG, well played is called. And yeah, just a little bit of unfortunate building placement out of elbarto, and MatthewN just takes it. Yeah, and that means that unfortunately... Oh, I didn't even show this. Oh my goodness. Back to this. Rip the production value. This was the map selection. It was this match that had the map selection, not the other match. Sorry I didn't show that, but you can take a look right now, a little bit belatedly though. But yeah, this does mean that in Group C, our first person into Beta League will be elbarto. You know, Group of Death, as most people would vote for, at least. You know, a little bit unfortunate with the matchups and what happened, but... You know, he'll have another chance in the Beta League. Yeah, he's going to play against whoever is 3rd out of Group B. Which brings us to the final match. It's going to be Steveinator versus MatthewN. And we'll see how that goes. Let me find the replay. I do want to give a little bit of a heads up here, though. So I heard that the server did crash in the middle of the game, which is definitely unfortunate. Do want to apologize as one of the developers. We are aware of the issue, and hopefully we'll be fixing it in the next patch. But unfortunately, that did have an issue, or did have an effect on this match. This is the first time that they played, and what you'll see is that the replay abruptly ends. And yeah, so... Definitely unfortunate, but I will show you both games just to be transparent. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. In the top left-hand side, he's cutting a worker for a faster house. It's MatthewN. And we're on Ravage for the first time in this group, so that's also very interesting. In the bottom right-hand side of the map, going for his signature early scout, it's Steveinator. And Steveinator is going across the map with that worker for that early scout, like I said. We'll see what he decides to do. So I do want to say that this timing is actually pretty interesting too. Because I feel like, I don't know if it's calculated or not, but his worker goes across the map just as he has enough money. Like, it arrives across the map just as he has enough money to build his first building. So like, theoretically, you could like choose what matchup you want to play, right? So let's say you go across the map, you know. Let's say you like Beast versus Rax, but also you like Rax versus Beast, if you know what I mean. Like, you'd rather play Rax versus Beast, and you'd rather play Beast versus Rax or something like that. Then you could like theoretically go across the map, see what their first building is, and respond to that, you know. Like, oh, you have I don't know, you're building a wolves, and that means I'm gonna get my racks, and vice versa. So I don't know if that's something that Steveinator has planned out, and that's the reasoning or not. But it's just something that has crossed my mind. But Steveinator is basically someone who pretty much always goes for that racks opening. He's dabbled a little bit with the raider opening, or sorry, not the raider, the workshop opening a couple of times, but mostly just a racks player opening wise at least. So maybe not Steveinator himself, but maybe that's something that you might be interested in trying out if you have different matchups that you prefer or something like that. But anyways, looks like one racks expand out of both players. MatthewN playing it a little bit safe, gonna try to check around the map a little bit with that worker, and probably just make a castle is my guess. Steveinator going for that raider expand of his own, it looks like. And perhaps these two raiders will... no, not quite. So Steveinator didn't go directly across the map. It looks like he had it right-clicked maybe here or here-ish. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, it's just going to go around the middle of the map. So that's going to be a little bit unusual, perhaps, from MatthewN, but probably not, honestly. Worker pulled. Gonna try to chase that raider away. We have a little bit of fight on the other side of the map as well. Castle on the way for MatthewN. Castle not on the way for Steveinator yet, though. That looks like it's a bit of a mistake. Did go for a third... Yeah, so this is very interesting. Did go for a third raider before that castle, and that is something very unusual. Generally that doesn't happen. And might be fooling... No, okay. Did start that watchtower, but is not probably gonna cancel it if you see this, right? Once you see this, you're like, oh yeah, it's not. You can just cancel it. Maybe not. But yeah, no real damage going on so far. I guess Steveinator's castle is late. MatthewN is forced, quote unquote, to build a tower, so I'd say it's a little bit better for MatthewN here. Maybe not even a little bit, maybe a little bit more than a little bit. Maybe like, yeah, I'd say it's definitely MatthewN favored here. Good flash though out of Steveinator getting an extra hit. Might want to be able to flash again and try to get another hit. Nope, not going to go for that. Just going to right click it down. Okay, interesting. Definitely something that I think MatthewN could have avoided. But there we go. The tower also finishes though. So I don't think that's something that you should have finished, but Steveinator thinks otherwise, or sorry, MatthewN thinks a little bit otherwise. Erring on the side of caution is always good, I guess. And that does allow Steveinator, I guess, the map control to go for an earlier third base, and we'll see what he does from there. MatthewN a little bit short on cash because of that watchtower, is not going to have the money to go for a third base of his own just yet. Steveinator going to try to flash in to try to get that worker, but good pull away. That was preemptive too. That was before he flashed in. Very nice game sense out of MatthewN here. Very nice. Steveinator does escape with all of his raiders, so we're in a bit of a, still a good situation, I guess, especially with this third base coming up. We have a bird on the way from MatthewN, so, feeling a little bit trapped on his side of the map, is going to go for a bird and also a workshop. Ooh, Steveinator does miss that flash. A bit of a out of Steveinator here. Definitely unfortunate. You don't want to mess those things up, especially because it's not exactly very difficult. I know, like, Aitano always says, oh, that's not an easy flash. And I guess if you don't know how flashes work, and yeah, I guess it's not an easy flash, but anyways. I'd say this sort of flashes isn't too difficult, especially like here. But anyways, third base coming out of MatthewN. Third base almost done for Steveinator here. This bird is going to scout it though, so very nice scout. And looks like we're going to go into a bit of a macro game from here. We have workshop, we have advanced workshop, and I'd imagine maybe we see the same, perhaps? Maybe. maybe not. Okay. I was kind of assuming, but nope, not gonna happen here. These two raiders being on this side of the map, I don't agree with. You definitely want to be active on the map with the raiders. That's basically your map control. Yeah, and we're just gonna settle into a macro game from there. We do have that advanced workshop coming up. Ooh, hello, hello. Is this gonna block? I think this actually might block. Yeah, I think this might block 2x2 units, so catapults, ballistas, Gatling guns. One thing is you can actually glitch if it's like a diagonal 1x1, so if it's like here and here, you can actually glitch with like workers in hold position, but it's just a lot of work, so that might potentially come into play. But it also might just not be actually in a position where it's going to be blocked. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. If I had to guess, it was blocked, but it might not be. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to tell. But yeah, we have a catap drop. No, we also have a bird as well. I thought that was a cat drop, but timing's a little bit off. This bird also, you know, bird for bird. Bird is a word. Gonna go in and scout. Definitely could have done this with a raider, in my opinion. He still has 3 of them alive. He's gonna see the workshop and the advanced workshop. And it's just gonna go away after getting a very nice scout. So yeah, Steveinator did, you know, claw back into his way into the game economically just because of his faster third base. Because MatthewN was forced to play a little bit more defensively, especially with that tower. Did get a later base for sure. And we'll see how this goes. This raider is going to be caught in the middle of the map, but double flashes away. Very nice. And Steveinator did see that, so I wonder if he's just not going to go across the map. Ooh, you do want to pick that up if you are going to go across the map, though. I was just going to say maybe he doesn't go across the map with the catap drop and tries to defend once he sees it. Or sees that move out, but we'll see if that's actually the case. 2 workshops for Steveinator and just the one out of MatthewN. I'm going to go for a bit of a more Rax-focused approach. Steveinator is loading up and trying to go across the map, but he's probably going to pull back once he sees this. Ooh, double flash. Ooh, double flash is very risky. Gonna lose. Nope, not quite. If he flashes, he might lose it. There we go. It doesn't need to flash actually, and does lose a raider because he was a little bit greedy with that double flash. Tried to catch that unit or that raider. Needs to pick up these catapults and bring them back into the fight. Is gonna do so right now, but did take a little bit too much damage early on already. This drop isn't actually gonna do too much. You want to be really careful with that. You don't want to take too much damage. But this is looking to be a bit of actually a difficult hold for Steveinator. I feel like it could have been a lot better. Big shots there, though. Definitely able to get a lot of archers there. But do want to save that. I wasn't quite able to save it. Gonna lose a catapult here. Good repair here, but that's not gonna do enough. Gonna lose that catapult there as well. So good micro out of MatthewN, doing his best to, you know, not get hit by all these catapult shots, but that is a big shot right there. Does want to repair that? No, not quite. Not able to. So this is actually a very nice attack out of MatthewN. Like, it got the airship, you got some catapults, you have more archers, and you've been doing a lot of damage. You also took down all the raiders too, so very nice fight out of MatthewN here. I don't know if Steveinator has enough to hold, actually. Did lose a lot of workers here trying to repair and also trying to do a little bit of damage. Maybe that soldier will take down that raider, perhaps, but yep, is going to be able to do so. Looks like he's going to be able to barely hold with that additional workshop worth of production, but it wasn't easy. It was pretty expensive. It wasn't cheap at all. Losing that airship probably was the biggest mistake. Definitely could have, instead of, you know, dropping it here and not doing anything with it for a little while, could have probably like pulled it back all the way and tried to defend, but yeah, a little bit sloppy out of Steveinator, but in dire situations like that, it's definitely not easy to defend. Good drop out of MatthewN, but did take a lot of damage while he was coming in. At the same time, this bird is going to get an eyeful of that 4th base coming up. Also going to go for a 4th base of his own is Steveinator here. And Yeah, I think MatthewN, with a very successful attack, is going to transition into mages here at the same time. So very nice. I like that transition. Whereas Steveinator is going to go basically full-on mech. And we'll see how that goes. The worker count has been tipped into MatthewN's favor instead because of that attack, which is very nice. And you do want to be careful as Steveinator here. If you go for Soldier Cat, you have to be aware of that friendly fire potential. And this is a very nice potential attack out of MatthewN. Might be able to take down a catapult for free. He's going to take a few big shots though, and is forced to move back. Okay, so I would like to see some upgrades of Steveinator. I would like to see a forge in the near future. Ideally earlier, but yeah, we have some Gatling guns coming into the mix, so those, what's it called? The caltrops are going to come into play. It looks like Steveinator has said, okay, now it's my turn to do a little bit of harassment. Going to try to go to a catadrop, looks like. Looks like he's waiting a little bit. No. Okay, he's just going to go across the map now. Cool. This bird probably would have liked to see it, you know, maybe on top of one of these pillars or something. These aren't actually pillars, so you can actually shoot them down with your archers. So just a heads up. But you don't really need this here. You want to see a little bit more vision on the top of the map. So MatthewN did go for a mage's skill. Didn't build any mages, didn't go for a fireball either, so that's definitely, you know, definitely a mistake. He's going to start it up right now, but that's a little bit, not a little bit, a lot delayed actually. Good reaction out of MatthewN, only taking a little bit of damage, and the replay is complete. So this was what I was talking about. Unfortunate that the server crashed. My apologies. And I do want to say, you know, it's a pretty even game. I'd say the advantage does go to Matthew slightly, but as mech, Steveinator did go for this fourth base and was able to more or less secure it. So, you know, it's anyone's game for sure. Really unfortunate that the game ended like this. We should actually probably make a resume from replay feature in Littlewargame. But yeah, we're gonna head to game number 2, but it's actually game number 1. Let me find it. There we go. This is the rematch, and hopefully, not hopefully, it is going to be the rematch. It's going to be the actual deciding factor here. So, for the second time, spawning in the top left, it's MatthewN. And in the bottom right, it's Steveinator. So, will we see a bit of a rematch in terms of build order? Who knows? Generally, that doesn't happen. If it's a regame or, you know, if you more like, you know, if you get a second chance, a lot of the times people will think, okay, you know, I kind of know what you are going to do now, and here's what I think I can do to, you know, get an advantage now that I know what you're doing, and people will kind of mix things up, generally, but not always, so. But Steveinator is going to go for a scout again. No, it's going to go somewhere else, actually. This looks like more of a... Okay, maybe it is a scout. If this was a proxy, it'd probably be going across... No, it is going to be a proxy. No, it's not. I'm eating my words here. Okay, I think it is going to be a proxy. There we go. It is a proxy. Okay. So, not going to go for that worker scout, instead going to go for a proxy Rax. I don't think that's usually very good against just a straight up Rax, and you've already seen a Rax. Unless this is a 2 Rax, potentially. Yep, looks like it is. So we have a 2 Rax out of Steveinator. Gonna probably look to do a little bit more better than MatthewN did against Highdra. We'll see how it goes. Did also cut the workers, though. So he cut, basically, he made only up to 8 workers, and that's it. So he's very, very all in with this sort of build. And he needs to do damage. He needs to snowball the raiders out of control, and we'll see what he does. So generally what you want to do with this is, if it were me, I wouldn't do this sort of thing where he comes in from the middle, because you kind of tip him off if he scouts it, right? I would probably put this raider like here, right? so that it looks like it's just a standard Vader. You know, it comes into vision and then yours automatically attacks into it. I think that's probably because if this is rally like this and MatthewN sees it like here-ish, actually maybe it might be fine. But like the timing of it is gonna be like off, perhaps. I don't know. It's just little small mind games that you can potentially do. Steveinator readjusted his rally point so that it's just gonna be here. But like if he goes across the map and scouts the timing, no, it's gonna be here. Okay, I don't know. I feel like if you were gonna proxy the 2 racks, you proxy the second racks, right? So that your first racks is actually just in the correct timing. Right now, you're gonna see the amount of mana that it has, and you're gonna know when it was built, right? I don't know. I don't think this is gonna go very well for Steveinator. You wanted okay. Flash? Okay, yep, there we go. So MatthewN taking the early lead in terms of micro here. With that extra flash, he was able to get that first hit. Okay. I do like that MatthewN didn't quite go into the main just because it's risky to go in. But at the same time, because of like when the second raider pops, but at the same time, this means that he doesn't know that there's no base at the moment. So that's going to be potentially very dangerous. I guess another thing is that MatthewN actually went for a fast tower the other game and he didn't need it. So maybe that's a bit of a mind game. He's like, oh, I think you're going to think that you don't need the tower anymore and therefore you're not going to go for the tower, and therefore that's why I'm two raxing. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. This raider actually might see this though. This is going to come in a weird angle if he's paying attention. He might. Oh, okay. You want to split only that one raider? Okay, there we go. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so this is actually looking not bad for Steveinator here. I don't think MatthewN is quite aware, and he's aware of it now. That's where the tower is coming in. Gonna double flash to try to get that raider. Very nice pick off. Does want to pull this 4th raider in as well. So I don't know. This is going to be a really tough call if you're MatthewN. I think you want to pull more workers. There you go. Those workers are coming in. You don't want to lose these raiders, though. At the same time, you also want to do the damage before the watchtower gets up. So it's definitely a dilemma for sure. I think he needs to be a little bit more aggressive, though. The watchtower isn't quite up yet, and he needs to do damage before this watchtower comes up. And Steveinator is going to play a little bit more passive. Okay, leave this one behind. Good. I think you just leave that behind and try to do as much damage as you can. Yeah, maybe even just ignore the tower because this tower is not going to be in range of this side of the map, right? It's not going to be able to see cover this side of the... Ooh, but the tower is finished, and that means these raiders might fall one by one. Gonna probably target down that. Okay, it's very nice. And that means 2 raiders fall, and I think this is pretty much a hold. Yes, you can flash over here, but you're gonna have enough raiders, enough archers to deal with the small number of raiders, especially because he's already lost a few. And that means I think this is a very nice hold. Second base already out for MatthewN, up 4 workers, and yeah, not looking very good for Steveinator. I think he had a very good chance, though. I think the idea was pretty nice. I think the execution was also actually pretty nice. But I think he just wasn't aggressive enough when he could have been aggressive. And then he was aggressive into the tower when the tower was about to finish. So, yeah, not the best idea here when he was fighting, right? So in terms of that execution, it wasn't the greatest, but initially I thought the way he hid his extra raiders, it took a while for MatthewN to sense that something was off. So that's very nice. Okay, so natural base coming up for Steveinator, but he is definitely behind. We have 2 more racks coming out of MatthewN. So going to go for 3, maybe even 4 with whatever this worker is going to try to do. No, it's just going to repair. Okay. So 3 racks is actually not exactly a build that I like because, well, actually, I don't mind the 3 racks as much compared to the 2 racks. I think 2 racks, actually, I don't know. It's really hard to quantify what my feelings are, and try to say, because I think 4 racks is good because it's an all-in, right? And then it has potential to do damage. 3 racks also has potential, maybe not as much, but it's also not as all-in-y. And then 2 racks is also like you have a lot of pressure. Like the level between like 2 and 3 racks aren't that big in my opinion. Like the level of pressure that you take, or at least it feels like that, right? So I'm not exactly sure if I like this. Yeah, I would like something like this a little bit more for sure. This workshop coming in. Steveinator is going to double flash in to try to get the scout. He's going to see that second racks, but I don't think he saw the... Oh, no, he did. Okay, so he did see this workshop. So that is a big tell that some sort of 2-base push is coming. So Steveinator is going to go for a workshop of his own. I do like that. I don't know if he actually saw the progress on it, so he might think this is like... He doesn't know if this is like actually like completely almost done or like just beginning, but... I do like this. I do like this workshop decision out of Steveinator, knowing that some sort of 2-base push is likely to come and trying to prepare for that. He also saw, the archers count, and he should know that it is at least a 2 racks, which he already knows from the scouting. So if you're Steveinator, you need to be very careful. You don't want to lose any of these raiders. Oh no, is he not paying attention? Ooh, does lose one. So generally what you want to do is you want to see this move out, which is what he did with the raiders. And then you want to loop around and try to catch some reinforcements. You want to try to catch like this archer. You want to catch like the additional archers that are going to be rallying across the map. It's going to keep tabs. Yes, you want to target that down. It's a little bit too close to the raider. Oh no. That's unfortunate. Tower coming up. And Steveinator is just doesn't have enough, I feel like. This is what? 10 archers versus just 4. Make that 5. Another tower coming up for Steveinator, but he just doesn't have the money. This catapult is about, what, 60% done? Not going to be quite done. If this tower doesn't go up, that's going to be disastrous. It's going to have to pull all the workers. Steveinator coming with trying to make a stop of this push. We'll see if he's able to do that. The tower is going to finish in time. I think he might be okay. But at the same time, this also gives so much space for MatthewN. He needs to put that one worker back to mining. But I think this also gives so much space for MatthewN just to go for a quick 3rd base and go for a bit of a contain. A bit of a siege. We'll see if that's what he decides to do. I think he is with these units rallying across the map. What does Steveinator have, though? Okay, this is something that he, I guess, needs to do. He needs to do something to get back into it. And looks like the mill is going to be the choice. I would have preferred to probably go for an advanced workshop here. He already has a ton of archers, and I feel like you're not going to get too much done. But maybe with catter drops, we'll see how it goes. We have a little bit of the siege starting up. Out of MatthewN, gonna hammer down that tower from afar with those catapult shots. Good target fire out of Steveinator, gonna target down that catapult. Good Q fire. Is gonna save with that repair, so very nice. But this is a pretty bad chokehold for MatthewN. Is gonna get his castle up and running while he does that. So and also Steveinator supply locked, so not good. But yeah, that was a very good hold out of MatthewN, which is now being translated into a very nice position in this game. Steveinator is going to be able to hold on, though, with his catapults and also the towers, so that is obviously very nice. But this is also a pretty big army. Maybe MatthewN could just literally say, okay, I'm just going to go in, and he might be able to just straight up win, actually, if he decides to do so. If he dodges the catapult shots for well enough, I feel like there is definitely potential. Gonna bring some workers as well for the repair, which I like. Does have that 3rd base complete. Does need to pull his workers over to saturate them a little bit better. Q fire out of Steveinator, trying to do, try to catch a few units for free out of vision. Ooh, that was potentially a big shot. That is a pretty big shot. Ooh, gonna do a little bit of friendly fire here too. A little bit of lag, it seems like, which is obviously not ideal. Looks like MatthewN is going to come in and does take down that archer, which is pretty big. Some shots going on to this catapult, and that means a catapult has fallen. Make that another mech unit, another Gatling gun. Yeah, this is going to be a very difficult hold. And these gyrocraft are going to get shut down pretty easily from these archers. That one is just getting, yeah, completely shut down from the air without being able to do anything. So these gyros not doing too much. I would have preferred to see that go across the map and do a little bit of harassment. But now that the gig is up, I think MatthewN is aware that there are gyros on the way. Steven, you're saying bad lag after server restart. Definitely unfortunate. Matthew asking, you want to restart? Steven here says, no, it is what it is. But definitely unfortunate. I actually don't know why that would cause lag. I wouldn't imagine it would. It would just be a server restart. Yeah, I'm not sure actually. Have to think about that and investigate it a little bit more. But this is a pretty devastating attack coming in out of MatthewN. Steveinator does have some catapults, but they're not all shooting. This catapult is about to fall from the concentrated fire. And yes, this is looking very disastrous for Steveinator. Attempting to take a third base, but it looks like that's not going to be able to happen. This catapult was taken down without even firing a shot because it was aggroed onto that soldier, which was too close to the range. And I think this might be it. MatthewN taking a fourth base at the same time. Yeah, I think this just might be it. Yeah, a little bit of an unfortunate lag situation. Unfortunate mill situation, in my opinion, as well. Yeah, things are looking tough for Steveinator here. I do like this repositioning out of MatthewN here. Gonna try to take down this watchtower from the side. Looks like it is in range, or at least this worker is in range for this catapult, though. One thing to note is that these catapults, if they're, depending on how they're angled, if they attack a building that's out of sight and it kills it, it might do one of those little tweaks. I did go over this in one of my Pro League Season 3 videos, so. But anyways, that's just something, a way that you can tell if one of your opponent buildings that are out of line of sight are destroyed by your catapults. Looks like Steveinator is going to go across the map with these gyrocraft. Going to see a tower here. Not going to be able to do too much. And yeah. It looks like MatthewN, doubling his opponent's supply, is in firm control of this game. We have Mage's Guild on the way. We have Forge on the way as well. I really do wonder how things would have went if Steveinator had played a little bit more conservatively build order wise. As in, instead of going for 8 house, or it's not 8 house, 8 racks, if he had gone for like the 10 worker variation, maybe it would have done a little bit better. I don't know, because he would have had a little bit of an easier time transitioning. Just some thoughts. Maybe it would have gone a little bit better. This is a pretty good fight for Steveinator here, though. Good Q fire out of him. He's doing a great job of that, whereas we haven't seen too much of it from MatthewN. I do like this, though. This is definitely one way to get back into it. Good hidden base. Good hidden base. Is able to take down that archer there. That sort of thing is one way to get back into the game if it goes unscouted for the longest time. But even if that isn't scouted, it's still 3 versus 4 bases, that is. So we have mages on the way, we have fireball on the way. MatthewN just dotting every I, crossing every T. These gyros waiting up for looks like 5 to try to dive in and get some workers potentially. You know, 5 gyros, 2-shot workers. Good combo. Not as good as the 2 catapults plus 1 2-shot workers, but yeah, this is looking very difficult for Steveinator to hold. These Q fire is very nice, but like once the fight actually starts, you just want to kind of A move. Gyro's coming in from the side, gonna try to target down some of these weakened archers. Very nice job of it, but this airship with the 2 ballista in, gonna try to ward these gyrocraft away. It looks like Steveinator is going to be able to break through a little bit, but at the cost of what? A cost of a ton of time, a cost of a lot of resources, and also MatthewN just having that opportunity to just transition very well into upgrades, into mages. Yeah, things are looking really good for him. Steveinator is going to take his quote-unquote third, but it's actually his fourth because he has a hidden base, but very, very delayed for sure. This archer in the middle of the map going to scout, which is very nice. It was produced by this Rax, if I'm not mistaken. But with these mages on the way, it's going to be really tough. Mages are very nice, turns out. Yeah, I think this sort of mill decision wasn't exactly the greatest. I feel like if he had, there would have been more opportunities for him to come back if he did go for the advanced workshop instead, because that way you're able to do some catapults drops. You're able to find potential areas where you can like pull it back. Whereas if you go for just gyros, it's more of like it's more of like a soft build. You know what I mean? It's not exactly something that you can bet all your eggs. It's more like, you know, I'm just gonna play it very, very standard and safe and stuff. But some fireballs here, only hitting a single catapult, but I think that's gonna be more than enough. These catapults from MatthewN, you know, kind of attacking just on the soldier was pretty rough, but now it's gonna rectify that, and yeah, I think things are looking pretty dire for Steveinator. Even if he does get rid of all these catapults here, there's still a whole bunch of archers. That's a pretty good big shot there, though. Do want to repair with these workers, perhaps? And there's a lot of missed shots over here. This fourth base, or hidden third base was actually scouted here, so MatthewN is aware of that now, and I think that might just be basically the end here. Fireball gonna damage a lot of these troops. Good usage of that archer here to try to draw those shots away. Oh, look at all these catapults trying to do this. My hidden base, says says Steveinator. MatthewN with the, I can't believe you were able to do that. I love it. But yeah, here he goes. Huge fireballs out of MatthewN. And that's the standing army of Steveinator going down. And at the same time, GG is called. And that brings us to the results of Group C. So, Highdra and MatthewN going to head into the Alpha League, whereas Steveinator and elbarto are going to go to the Beta League. So the new kids on the block going to be able to advance out of this group of death. Oh, I didn't edit this. That's my bad. But Group C second place is going to be... that's my bad. Apologies. Is going to be MatthewN, going to play against the winner of Group B. And in the Beta League, it's going to be like this, where you have Steveinator waiting for Group B fourth place, and elbarto going to play against Group B's third place. So that's going to be it for Group C today. I hope you all enjoyed these games, and I hope you're all ready for the remaining groups in group stage, hopefully coming sometime very soon. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.